Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US tech stock, starting with the NASDAQ. We're at obviously at the 18,000 here. We call 8 a profit taking number, and we're certainly getting that. We've been looking at wave 1 with an A and a B and a C wave working through here in 5 waves. And the current move up here, over the last few days sessions, we've been talking about 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish off here as an impulse wave here. So now we're looking at a corrective wave. We'll have a closer look at this in the indices, but it's probably the A, the B and the C wave here, with probably something like this to go here, and then we'll move up further in this area here. So it's probably because we're in if you got a grip on Elliott, then because we're in 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2, then it's a good idea to actually continue to build through these levels here into group 1, so 1, 2 and 3 here. Once that becomes the tested support here, the 300, then it won't be looking back at the 1800. It will continue to move up to 5, and you know, it'll give a classic trading levels pattern at that number 5 there, that pattern. So you just need to understand how the market migrates from being resistance to support. It's either this pattern, or this pattern, but this is the most common here. So yeah, so that's what we're looking at with the NASDAQ. So all pretty sort of simple at this point. Now I just wanted to point out too that I can put the triple Q ETF trade in the stock check portfolio, but if you want to track these in terms of the portfolio, currently they're at let me just get this in here just to, so if I just open this trade up here, so if I just check one of these, so just what I wanted to point out here is that if you go to this one here, you'll end up having a variety of you know, commodities in this side over here. The other one here, if you're looking for the futures markets here, will be Monday morning, getting the plot together. So yeah, so you'll get the futures contracts in here, and the bonds and the yields and so on. So that's where they're going to sit for the time being. So I just need to mull that over if I want to bring them into another section of the portfolios at this stage. But just to let you know that I've got them there at least. I've done something. So anyway, that's the NASDAQ. So we'll just push that to the side. This is the S&P here. So we're looking at the S&P as wave 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 here. It was the banks that brought this down here in a sense. So we've got those overlapping wave structures here. So this is quite sort of common. I was just looking at this, you know, I mean, when we talk about the banks, you know, you've got the credit card companies doing the best, and then you've got Morgans and so on and so on. All the banks are doing slightly different things, but they're all kind of doing the same thing. Some are just leading, some are just following. But if we look at Morgans here, and this is the new Elliott Wave AI algo that will be on the site in due course. But what I wanted to point out here is just that you can see this wave 1 here, right? And this wave 2 here, and then this wave 1 and this wave 2 here. You see how it overlaps wave 1 over here? Well, that's what the S&P is doing at this point, you know. Yeah, so we could count this up here as wave 3 here, or we could just drag this wave 1 up to this point here as well. There's different ways. This is what we're toying with in the S&P as well. So we can lift all of this up here, which we're basically doing. We're looking at all of this as 1 and 2 here. So these banks here, whichever way you want to look at them, are still in the early stages of 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. Do you know what I mean? So they've still got, you know, this is, if you want to park money, the banks are the best. And obviously leading stocks tend to have more range. I'm just going to go straight here to the Just going to go to 1000 ticks. So it's just really in this little area here. So it's the same as the NASDAQ. And this is what we're getting from stocks as well. So we've got 1 and ABC for 2 here, up for 1. And we'll look for an ABC back for 2 here. Buy new highs, by the way. But, you know, you could bring that down into here further. But we'd expect this to move on down here further. Look, it could move all the way down here and sort of shock us a bit. But as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 coming down here, so obviously we've got, you know, this is minor level 1, so between 5,000 and 100, between 100 here you've got all the sub levels 1, 2, 3, 5 and 8, the Fibonacci numbers. So 5 is the second strongest number, so that's a good place there. And then we got group 2 here as well, 65, 72 and 80, but we'll look at all of that when we go into the indices. But just what the takeaway is that you know, we've got this 1 and 2 here, and we've got 1 and 2 here. So we really need to be building in this section over here, if that is indeed going to be the case. But buying new highs is the safest move at this stage, just to be sure. So Apple's in a bit of a world of its own. Now we have this as a little 5 waves up here, and that could certainly be the case, and we can just have a little A, B and C pattern coming down to here and then moving up from that point. That's there, but I've also sort of dragged this here because there is a really good case for having 5 waves here. So that means that we should get 5 over here. So I'll look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jamming up here. It may or may not be the case, but it'd be quite typical just to take out all the stops and then make a run for it at that point. So over to Amazon, just on the 1000 tick area here. It's much the same here as well. We'll be looking for basically all of this here as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for 1 and 2. So if you wanted to add, this would be the time to look to add to this position over here. I'll just make a note of that because we're going to add to Microsoft, NVIDIA and Amazon here, AMZN. So yeah, so we'll just continue to build up through here. So I mean, Friday didn't close strong, so you know there's no momentum there for Monday to do the same. So it's highly likely we'll get a correctional pattern here, and yeah, so that's pretty much that. Really, pretty simple. We're just going to keep the stop out of the way until this trend here has been rebalanced and tested. I mean, if you know, if it may or may not be the case, but if it does give you a second high here somewhere, then you want to be dropping that down onto that second high. So we want to be buying new highs, but we've got an impulse wave here, so we should be heading higher in due course. Okay, so meta platforms, much the same as well. We're going to take profit at the 500 here, but we're going to kind of lift this up to 530 up here. I just want to get this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here further, and I may even move it again. Okay, so yeah, we'll just see how that goes. So this is impulsive here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we've got ourselves a little A wave here. So this is probably one of the stocks that will be sort of leading somewhat. It's a bit simple for a B wave, but we'll just call it in for the time being. And then wave C down here. They'll all be this. If you can't figure out a pattern, have a look around. They'll all be much the same, really. I mean, it could be quite possible to put this in here as a wave 2 here. That's, you know, technically that's correct, but we can see the other ones need to come down. So something like 3, 4, 5 would probably be more probable. But even if that is a B wave here, we can also look to go long again on that B wave top there. That's all pretty standard. And I'll just put that on my notes here, meta, adding to that. Yeah, so that's there. So that's all looking good. This will be one of the leaders to the upside, I'm sure. So that's that. So I'm just really looking at the intraday here. NVIDIA, so we can buy a new high at NVIDIA. You could also drop that down into this particular space here as well, but you know, it's nice to, this will probably be, you know, this will be that's 50-60% there. It probably won't come down to there. This consolidation in group 2 here is about it, I reckon. So it'll be something like this here, and then we'll be looking at the 1000 up there, of course. But yeah, so that's that. And Netflix, so we've got a position here as well. We've also got a nice little impulse wave moving up here for this, so we'll just label this a 1 and 2 in here, so we can expect this to pull back here in due course. And you could look to add on top of this as well if you wanted to, so we'll just plonk that there. This is the time to do it. You might think I'm a little bit aggressive at the moment, but there's a time to be aggressive, and there's a time to to be patient, and so on and so on. This, you know. Alphabet. So we didn't get a position in here. We just wanted to wait as we start at the top there. So now we can drop it down to this second high here. So I'll just want to make a note of that, so I can put it in the portfolio. Google adjust entry. So yeah, it could pull down. You could probably even, you know, if it moves down here further, then you can drop it down to this one here. Okay, so if you're, you know, if you're at the wheel, you can do that, but I won't be there. But you can improve on that, because you want the market to make a new high. You know, you want the market to prove to you that that it is strong. You know, I mean, we're surfing waves here, so you've got to catch the wave, and to catch the wave, you need to get it at the right point. So that's what we're doing. We need to be lifted. So that's that really, and we'll also be looking to add up here on a classic trading levels pattern here, but the same story goes again, wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and we're doing all the right things at the right time. I mean, we could have done better, but it's okay. Always room for improvement. And then we've got Microsoft here, same. Here you can see a nice 5 waves here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to have some sort of A wave here, B wave and C wave here, and then a move up at that point. So we can drop this down to here, so that will be 10, 11. I'll just bring it down a little bit. I'll give that some thought. Yeah, okay, that's all good at that point. So you could improve on that, okay? So I'll leave that there for you to, I'll put that. I mean, it's okay to add back up here. You know, it's good to build in here, but definitely you want to be building in on the 20 as well. We'll be building in on the 30 as well. So we want to be building, I'll put this over here. We want to be building in on these ones here. Once again, if this is 1 and 2 here, then we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, and then a pullback, and then up again at that point. So it will be basically wave 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, 5 here, some type of ABC pattern here, which we're going to hold through. We'll bring the stop up a bit and protect and lock some in and try to get it closer to break even, but and then we'll be pushing up here, and then we'll be building in again over here. So we're being a little bit aggressive, but we're doing it at the right time. Okay, so that's the gist of it there. And then we come over to Tesla. So with Tesla here, it's a bit, you know, I've got this as wave 1 and 2 here, and 1 and ABC back for 2 here, but this is not really giving me a nice impulse wave. It's possible that I could call it wave 1 here and then have wave 2 over here. That's possible. And then the market can move up from that point. If that's the case, we want this top to be taken out basically. And the other side to this is having, as we talked about last week, wave 2 being over here. but it's already down quite deeply here. So, you know, if that is corrective, technically it needs to kind of come down into that 190 there a little bit. But I can also see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here already. So it does make a nice one, and an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here for wave 2. So it may not come down that much, but it doesn't really, it's not going to bother me about this here. We don't have a position in it just yet. We could, because, you know, we could bring this down to here, but I don't want to do that just yet. This move up here is an A and a B and a C wave here. That's the risk here. So it could come further down here. That's not an issue. But if it takes out that top there, then it will destroy this being an ABC corrective pattern, and that will take us higher at that point. So we're just being tactically cautious at this particular point in time with this market here. There's a good chance that we've captured the bottom here, but I just don't have any evidence, you know. If this was 5 waves up here, then I'd be more comfortable. But we're being dealt this hand, so we don't want to get caught in a bluff with a weak hand. So we need to be mindful of how we go about doing things at this point. I mean, you could trend line that out there. I mean, trend lines are useful until they're not. So that could be, you know, it strengthens that 190 area there, doesn't it? So anyway, we want that 200 as a tested support. Okay, that's it for the tech stock. So looking bullish there. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.